Every now and again on Out-of-Town Adventures, we like to focus on an activity or adventure or hike in the Greater Palm Springs area. So today, we're going to be with Linda Pyle, who's the author of Peaks, Palms, and Picnics, and she's going to escort us through the Thousand Palms Trails.
Thousand Palms trails are quite popular, partly because they're on one basic elevation and aren't too long. Linda loves to hike and enjoys distilling the natural highlights of a trail into recipes that are also included in her books.
So what caused you, what inspired you to write this book?
And it was actually my mother who said, well, you know, you're writing the book about San Diego. Why don't you do another book of hiking and picnicking in the desert? And we're like, are you crazy, Mom? We discovered there were so many places to hike and picnic in the desert. We were just blown away.
So now tell me about the poles. Why do you bring these walking poles?
Well, we were doing a lot of hiking in Ireland and Scotland, and so we were needing the poles because it takes a lot of the weight off of your legs, moves it into your arms so you can go for longer distances. I like to do it because you get an upper body workout. And then if you're going downhill and it's kind of treacherous, you've got something to steady yourself, or if you're crossing a stream.
Right.
Yeah.
This is pretty.
This is golden bush, and we're in the fall season, and this is when this plant blooms, creates this beautiful golden contrast against the blue sky.
And I see 5 bees just in my line of vision, so nature's loving it.
Absolutely.
That's our goal, isn't it?
That is the McCallum Grove bee, and when you're looking for water, you look where fan palms pop up, and that's our goal.
On the way to the pond, you cross over a wash which is usually quite dry. On the day we hiked, the evidence of a recent downfall of rain could still be seen.
Yeah.
So when you're going on a hike, it's really important to bring certain things, especially if you're going for any length of time. So Linda, what do you bring? Because you're a pretty serious hiker.
Well, I always bring my pack, and I always bring sunglasses. I've slathered up with sunscreen, especially on the face. And you're going to want to bring your phone, and of course my phone is my camera.
Yeah.
I have a guide that came from the visitor center. Bring that, or bring a map. And I have my Camelback, so I have about 60 ounces of water here. This is about a 2-hour hike, so that should be more than plenty.
The pond in behind us is usually alive with small fish, and I've never seen it dry. The view is so peaceful, and a lovely reward at the end of the trail before you start heading back.
That is a mesquite bean. This is a very important tree to the Native Americans, the Cahuilla. They used those beans, was a huge food source. And they would pick them and dry them, and they could use them all year.
Wow.
I'm a big fan of the Washingtonian floriflora trees because they're just so gigantic and majestic. They're like the wise old men of the forest.
Wow, the barn swallow flies through insect swarms, eating as it flies.
Amazing.
All along the way are signs that not only mark the trail, but give information about the wildlife and plants in the area. The part near the entrance has a boardwalk, since water is generally present there due to the seismic activity in the area.
Yes, it doesn't have moisture. It's got more because of that recent storm, but the water is seeping up from the aquifer because this is right next to the earthquake fault.
You can't help but notice how peaceful this place is, and Linda always encourages hikers to stop and enjoy a little meditation in the fresh air to connect with nature. If you don't want to head back at the end of the trail, there are options to go further, such as to Vista Point or Moon Country. We headed back along the trail created by a wash, and from start to finish, this hike takes around 40 minutes.
The reason this area is so important is because the endangered Uma inernata, the fringe-toed lizard, still has a habitat here in the sand dunes. But it's endangered, and it lives in the sand dunes, and many of the sand dunes in the desert have disappeared.
The keepers of the McCallum Trail do a great job of making sure nobody gets lost.
Wow.
We went a teeny bit off trail to get a feel for the wash that gets flooded when it rains heavily. The Thousand Palms trails are becoming quite popular, And it's always appreciated when a visiting hiker values and honors these precious desert landscapes and their habitat.